The Book of Disquiet by Fernando Pessoa, Section 220, Dolorous Interlude. What good is dreaming? What did I make of myself? Nothing. To be spiritualized in night. Inner statue without contours. Outer dream without a dream essence. Section 221. I've always been an ironic dreamer, unfaithful to my inner promises. Like a complete outsider, a casual observer of whom I thought I was. I've always enjoyed watching my daydreams go down in defeat. I was never convinced of what I believed in. I filled my hands with sand, called it gold, and opened them up to let it slide through. Words were my only truth. When the right words were said, all was done. The rest was the sand that had always been. If it weren't for my continuous dreaming, my perpetual state of alienation, I could very well call myself a realist. Someone, that is, for whom the outer world is an independent nation. But I prefer not to give myself a name, to be somewhat mysterious about what I am, and to be impishly unpredictable, even to myself. I feel a certain duty to dream continuously, since not being more, not wanting to be more than a spectator of myself, I have to put on the best show I can. And so I fashion myself out of gold and silks, in imaginary rooms, on a full stage, with ancient scenery, a dream created to invisible music and the play of soft lights. I cherish, like the memory of a special kiss, my childhood remembrance of a theater with a bluish, moonlit setting that depicted the terrace of an impossible palace, surrounded by a huge park, likewise painted. I spent my soul living all of that as though it were real. The music that softly played on this occasion of my mental experience of life gave the stage setting a feverish reality. The setting was definitely bluish and moonlight, but I don't remember who appeared on the stage. The play I place today in that remembered scenery comes from the verses of Verlaine and Bessanha, but this isn't the play, which I've forgotten, that was performed on the actual stage and had nothing to do with that reality of blue music. It's my own fluid play, a grandiose, moonlit masquerade, a silver and nocturnal blue interlude. Then came life. That night, they took me to the Gold Lion for dinner. I can still taste the steaks on the palate of my nostalgia. Steaks, I know because I imagine, such as nowadays no one makes, or I at any rate don't eat. And it gets all mixed up, the childhood I lived from afar, the tasty food at the restaurant, the moonlit setting, Verlaine future and I present, in a blurry diagonal, in a false gap between what I was and what I am. Section 222. As when a storm is brewing, and the noises from the street talk in a loud and detached voice, the street winced in the stark white light, and the dull darkness trembled all around the world, with a boom of echoing crashes. The hard sadness of the heavy rain accentuated the air's ugly black hue, cold and warm and hot at the same time. The air was everywhere equivocal. Then, a wedge of metallic light entered the large office, ripping into the peace of each human body, and a huge rock of sound struck with a chill shock on all sides, shattering into a hard silence. The sound of rain diminishes, becoming a soft voice. The noise from the street diminishes out of fear. A new light spreads its swift yellow over the silent darkness, but breathing was again possible before the fist of rumbling sound abruptly echoed from afar. Like an angry farewell, the storm was beginning to draw away. With a drawling, moribund murmur, with no light in the increasing light, the rumble of the storm subsided in the distant expanses. It circled over Almada. A dreadful light suddenly cracked and splintered. It froze inside every brain and chamber. Everything froze. Hearts stopped for a moment. They're all very sensitive people. The silence terrifies as if death had struck. The sound of increasing rain, as if everything were weeping, is a relief. The air is like lead. Section 223. A sort of faint lightning darkly whirled in the large room. The rumble that followed, breaking in on a widespread gulp, trailed off into the distance. The sound of rain wept loudly, like mourners in between their chit-chatting. Here inside, each tiny sound stood out clearly, nervously. Section 222. That episode of the imagination which we call reality. It's been raining for 2 straight days, and the rain that falls from the cold grey sky has a color that afflicts my soul. For 2 straight days. I'm sad from feeling, and I reflected at the window to the sound of the dripping water and pouring rain. My heart is overwhelmed, and my memories have turned into anxieties. Though I don't feel tired and have no reason to feel tired, I'd love to go to sleep right now. Back when I was a child and happy, the voice of a colorful green parrot lived in a house off the courtyard next door. On rainy days, his talking never became mournful, and he would cry out, sure of his shelter, a constant sentiment that hovered in the sadness, like a phonograph before its time. Did I think about this parrot because I'm sad, and my distant childhood brings it to mind? No. I actually thought about it because a parrot is right now frantically squawking in the courtyard opposite where I live today. Everything is topsy-turvy. When it seems like I'm remembering, I'm thinking of something else. If I look, I don't recognize. And when distracted, I see clearly. I turn my back to the grey window with its panes that are cold to the touch, and by some magic of the penumbra, I suddenly see the interior of our old house, next to which there was a courtyard with a squawking parrot, and my eyes fall asleep from the irrevocable fact of having, in effect, lived.